Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this new episode of Ask Huda, broadcasting to you live from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. You will find, inshallah, the numbers displayed at the bottom of the screen so we can receive your questions and calls. And meanwhile, Madhar or Mahzar, that is, sent us a question saying that, is it allowed in Islam to watch videos in which one of the actors speaks harshly to God? This is a frequent question that a lot of the Muslims ask nowadays. And this is not due to the concept itself, but it's due to the fact that a lot, and I mean a lot of Muslims are watching and engaging in following and watching movies, soap operas, TV series, video clips, YouTube, etc. And these types of media indulges a Muslim in wrong practices, no matter how hard he tries to preserve himself. There are lots of movies, and movies in Islam are haram, generally speaking, because you will find nudity, you will find violence, and you will find kufr, like the brother is asking. So someone is talking harshly to Allah Azza wa Jal. Is it okay to watch him? Someone is making fun of Islam, of fasting, of prayer, of Muslims. Someone is ridiculing the Quran, debates that people speak ill about Islam, and you're watching it. Why are you watching it? He says, I want to learn. You don't learn from people insulting Islam. You learn from the Quran and the Sunnah. This is what Allah will hold you accountable for on the Day of Judgment, not on watching debates. Allah Azza wa Jal says in verse 140 in Surah An-Nisa, chapter number 4, and it has already come down to you in the book that when you hear the verses of Allah being denied and ridiculed, so do not sit with them until they enter into another conversation. The consequences? Indeed, you would then be like them. Indeed, Allah will gather the hypocrites and the disbelievers in hell together. So Allah is telling us that if someone is ridiculing the Quran, is denying the religion of Allah, is making fun out of it, as in the case of someone speaking harshly to Allah, then you must not sit with them, otherwise you will be like them, and this would make you a hypocrite or a disbeliever. So this is one of the major acts that nullifies Islam. It is one of the acts that causes a person to fall into apostasy. So people take this lightly, especially in stand-up comedies, especially in comedy shows, when they make fun of Islam and of the Muslims. And I've heard that there was a program, a stand-up comedy in UK or Canada or in US, where they're Muslim comedians making fun out of Islam so that they would fight the stereotyping that people have. This is not done by making fun of your own religion or of the practice of Muslims here and there. This is done by giving da'wah and showing people the correct Islam. Making fun of Islam is something that would take you to apostasy and would nullify your Islam, even if you pray and fast, because the ayah 140, chapter 4 is crystal clear. A sister asks, she says, I'm a Muslim girl and I really like a Muslim guy. He doesn't know me, but I'm a friend with his mom and sister on social media. What can I do? I really like him and I would marry him if I could. Now this is a clear example how shaitan works perfectly on people who are far away from Islam and are far away from common sense and logic. This girl is a friend of a woman and her daughter, and on social media they write things about their son or about their brother. And this girl follows what they write on social media, and she is impressed by his character. Does she know him? No. Did she know, or does she know these people, the mother and the sister? No. So where is she getting this information that makes her fall in love with this boy and like him? This is shaitan, pure handicraft and handiwork of shaitan. He is a professional in this. And this is why Islam protects the followers of this great religion by segregating men from women, by not allowing them to chit-chat or to be in seclusion, by ordering them to lower their gaze, by ordering the women not to soften their voices. All of these factors to preserve, to protect, and to safeguard the whole of the community of the Muslims. This sister fell in love by the mere description of two women she doesn't even know, but she's friends with on the social media. Are they saying the truth? Allahu A'lam. Is he abusive? Does he pray? Allahu A'lam. Is he committed to his religion? Does he have relationships? Is his religious commitment acceptable? Does he have moral ethics? We don't know anything about that, except what was relayed to her by these two women. And this is not right. This is unfair. If the boy is worthy of you, he would have come and approached your father, proposed to him. Now for you to like him and to speak to his mother or to his sister, this is not befitting for a woman to go and portray herself or expose herself or show herself to someone so that they can marry her. Only women that have no value would do such a thing. So I would greatly advise you to not go into such social media sites and to cut your communication when it comes to boys that are non-mahram to you. Habib from Oman.
Yes, assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
I have two questions, Sheikh. The first question is, if marriage happens in a mosque, is it permissible to invite non-Muslim colleagues and non-Muslim friends? I mean, those who have been contacted in school or college.
Okay.
And the second question is, Sheikh, for the dowry that the male gives, can he mention in the contract about some of the books of the ulama that he will teach her this book and stuff like that? For example, Riyadus Salihin or likewise.
Okay.
Okay, Sheikh.
Hayyak Allah. We have Abdurrahman from Kuwait.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, my question is, somebody called last week asking about saying something like, Ya Rasulullah.
Yes.
So he wasn't, he didn't put his question very clearly. So I have something similar like that. It's like somebody, when somebody has receive maybe a pleasant news, he will say like, some people will say, oh, Ya Allah. Some people will say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Some people will say, Ya Rasulullah, something like that. Or when you, maybe somebody hits his leg or maybe misses stuff, you would say, Ya Rasulullah. So what's the ruling about that?
Okay.
Thank you.
I will answer you, inshallah, Abdurrahman.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Habib from Oman says that if a marriage contract were to be held in a masjid, is it permissible for non-Muslims to attend? The issue of non-Muslims attending or entering a masjid is an issue of dispute. The most authentic opinion is that this is permissible if there is a legitimate reason. And the evidence behind this is the hadith of Thumamah ibn Athal, may Allah be pleased with him, who was captured and imprisoned by the Muslim soldiers and Muslim armies, and he was a pagan at the time. He was an idol worshipper. So he was brought to the Prophet ﷺ. He was tied to one of the pillars of the masjid. So this means that he was in the masjid for 3 days and nights. And the Prophet used to come to him and ask him, what have you got, Thumama? And he said, oh Muhammad, if you want money, ask and we will give you whatever you want. And if you set me free, you will find me grateful and thankful. And if you kill me, there will be blood. People will come and seek after my revenge. And then he became a Muslim. So this means that it is permissible for a non-Muslim to enter a masjid for a reason. So if these non-Muslim colleagues attend wearing decent clothes, there is, I see no problem in their attending, inshallah. Ahmed from India.
Hello, Sheikh.
Yes, Ahmed.
I wanted to ask one question. What's your take on if your channel and probably you paid by the Saudis to boycott the news of the war in Yemen? Recently, more evidence show this. And
again, I think Ahmed was speaking about his hatred, like many, to Saudis and to Islam and to the Muslims. Again and again, these ISIS affiliates would not let any moment pass. And this is their right to attack and to say their abusive words and to use their ill logic. But it is our fault, we, the masses of the peaceful Muslims, who refused to make a stand, who refused to talk against them, to expose them, to reply to each and every one of them. Every time one of us makes a post on Facebook or on Twitter, we find these keyboard knights coming in the tens, attacking, abusing, saying hypocrites, saying murtad, saying kafir, saying bad words about all the Muslims and the scholars and the students of knowledge who expose their deviancy. But we don't find among the thousands of followers those who are men enough to stand up and say, no, you are the deviants, you people who follow deviancy and you kill innocent people and blah, blah, blah. And this is a big problem that Muslims must look into. We have Shamim from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, ya Sheikh Hassan.
Salam wa rahmatullah, Shamim Bhai.
How are you, Sheikh Hassan?
I'm fine, Akhi Habib.
Sheikh Hassan, I just want to clear something. I have advised my children and my wife to only follow Quran, authenticated Hadith and Sunnah and nothing else.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people are telling me that this was a wrong advice. There's more to Islam than this, like there are Wali Allah, there are saints, and we should keep them in mind also. So please advise me, did I give a good advice to my family or was I wrong?
Okay. I will answer you, inshallah.
Thank you very much, Sheikh Hassan.
You're welcome, Akhi. Abdurrahman from Saudi. Abdurrahman or Abdurrahim?
Yeah.
Abdurrahim.
Hello? Yeah. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
Yeah, I have 3 questions, Sheikh.
Yes, sir.
One is, me and my wife are revert to Islam.
MashaAllah.
And we are wanting to learn Quran, how to read Quran, Arabic alphabet. So we have called a home tutor who is an Hafid. So I want to ask you if me and my wife together we can learn under him or not.
Okay.
That is my first question.
Okay.
My second question is, it's been 3 years that I've accepted Islam. The initial stage when I accepted Islam, immediately after that 1 month, there was Ramadan. So I couldn't perform my fast during that Ramadan because
Yes. Yes, Akhi.
Yeah,
Yes.
because my parents got to know that I have accepted Islam, so most of my days were missed. But after that, Alhamdulillah, I came here in Riyadh and I was able to perform my fast in every Ramadan which came here. But I have missed those Ramadan, so am I supposed to compensate for it or something like that?
Yani you didn't fast because your family forced you not to eat?
Yeah. They got to know I have accepted Islam, so they forced me. They kind of like didn't want me to fast. And that time I was very initial. I didn't know that if I don't fast, I have to give fidya and I have to compensate those fasts.
Okay, I will answer you. Okay, third question.
Yeah. Third question is, I am in the construction field. So weekly, almost thrice, I go to Al-Kharj from Riyadh. That is almost 125 kilometers.
How much?
So that too, I return by evening, mostly by Maghrib time. So my Asr and my Zohar is at the site. So am I supposed to shorten my prayer or not?
What is the distance, Akhi?
It's almost 125 kilometers.
Where is it?
It's from Riyadh to Al-Kharj.
Al-Kharj, okay.
Al-Kharj. Yeah.
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Akhi.
Thank you, Sheikh.
Hayyak Allah. Okay, Habib, second question. He says that, is it possible to include during or in the mahar, when someone marries a woman, we know that he has to give her dowry. So is it permissible to give her a dowry which is not in monetary form, but rather to say that, okay, I will marry you and your dowry is that I will teach you the book of Tawheed, for example? Well, that's fun. He has to be a student of knowledge or he has to be a scholar to do this, but I would not recommend this, because this would be difficult when after a few years something happens and the woman wants to call the marriage off. He wasn't as pious as she thought. He wasn't as gentle as she thought. And he's abusive. He hits her. He doesn't pray on time. So when she wants to ask for khul', what is she going to return to him? He didn't give her any money. So he would probably ask for a lot of money that she did not receive. She cannot teach him back what he taught her. But generally speaking, this was done at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and the man could not afford even a ring of iron to give as mahar. So the Prophet ordered him ﷺ to teach her what he knows from the Quran. So if it is a similar situation, then the answer is yes, no problem. But if he has money, then she should ask him for a dowry like all other women. And at the same time, as a normal husband, who would refuse to teach his wife if she's willing to learn? No student of knowledge, no scholar, no da'i would leave his family in the darkness without teaching them and telling them the religion of Allah Azza wa Jal. Nadeem from Saudi?
Yeah, hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikh, I have one question. Recently I went to India and I saw one thing, like, I met a person who was from Ahl Hadith. Means they have a argument like saying we shouldn't follow 4 imams, we should follow only Hadith and Quran. So explain me the ruling about this. Second, when I went the place from which I belong to, every masjid has been given a name, like this masjid belongs to Bareilly, this masjid belongs to, like Deoban. So means it is very difficult to, means we are here and, in any masjid we can pray. There is a, sectarian things like this is Bareilly, it is very difficult to, follow, or it means you won't like to go to any masjid. It is better, like to pray at home. So what do you think about this?
Okay.
I need an answer for this.
Inshallah, I'll try to my level best, Akhi.
Okay.
Okay, Akhi. I'm Abdurrahman from Saudi Arabia. She says that last week we tackled an issue of using the phrase Ya Rasulullah, and I explained, I think, that Ya is a preposition that used to call someone. So if I want to call a friend Ahmed, for example, I said Ya Ahmed, or I say Ya Walad if I want to call a boy. So Ya is to call someone, and we use this with Ya Allah, help us, Ya Allah, protect us. Now, using it with the Prophet ﷺ, as in the cases that she mentioned, she says sometimes when a crisis takes place or a calamity, we say, Ya Rasulullah. Now, this is called istighatha. You're seeking help and refuge from the Prophet ﷺ, and this is major kufr. This is shirk. Because this is only possible with Allah Azza wa Jal. He's the only one who can help you. The Prophet ﷺ is dead in his grave. In our worldly measures, he is alive in the sense of the barzakh, which is a stage between this life and the hereafter. But he's not alive in the sense that he is getting married and eating and drinking, etc., like we do, and going to the toilet. It's a different life altogether. Yet he's dead. That is why he was washed, shrouded, prayed upon, and buried. No one disputes about this. So calling him is shirk. When someone has numbness in his foot and he says, Ya Rasulullah, again you're calling the Prophet ﷺ. In Al-Adab al-Mufrad, there's a weak hadith, I believe it's narrated by Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, that whenever your leg numbs, you offer salutation to the Prophet ﷺ, or remember the Prophet ﷺ. But this is not authentic, and hence it is different than saying Ya Rasulullah and calling him to save you. So such calling to the Prophet ﷺ, or even to the angels, and I've read a few fatwas here and there saying that even if you say to the angels, Ya ibadallah a'inuni, or Ya ibadallah arshiduni, that this is shirk. They say, no, this is not shirk, because the angels are there and they can guide you. How can they guide me? Where is that found in the Quran and the Sunnah? So I might as well say, oh angels, cure my illness, because they can cure my illness with the grace of Allah. They can help me find lost objects with the grace of Allah. What is shirk then? So all of this is not acceptable. Abdul Rahman from Kuwait had these questions, so I hope inshallah I managed to answer it. Shamim from Saudi Arabia says that, now usually I tell my wife and my children to follow the Quran and the authentic hadith, and that is it. So am I right or am I wrong? Well, you're right and you're wrong. Allah Azza wa Jal would ask us on the Day of Judgment about two things. What we used to worship, وَيَوْمَ يُنَادِيهِمْ فَيَقُولُ مَاذَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْبُدُونَ? What were you worshipping? Allah. So this is sincerity. And also, مَاذَا أَجَبْتُمُ الْمُرْسَلِينَ? What did you respond to the messengers? And this is in compliance of following the Prophet ﷺ. Now, to come to a layman, to come to someone who doesn't know Arabic, or someone who knows Arabic but doesn't understand the Sharia itself, and tell him only follow the Quran and Sunnah. If I give you a ayah from the Quran, you will not be able to understand it. It says, yes, wait 1 second, I have to go to Tafsir ibn Kathir, Tafsir al-Tabari. In this case, you're following Ibn Kathir and al-Tabari. If I give you a hadith and you're unable to understand it, say, let me check what Ibn Hajar said about it. Let me check what Imam so-and-so said about it. Then you're following the Imam. So it is not your intellect, it is not your own logic that allows you to follow the Quran and Sunnah. However, we usually say, and you have to remember this, Shamim, we follow us Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, us Salafis, Ahl al-Hadith. We follow the Quran and the Sunnah with the understanding of the righteous predecessors, which includes the four Imams of the fiqh, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Imam al-Shafi'i, and Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. So you cannot simply say, I follow only the Quran and Sunnah. No, this is not realistic. Even those Salafis who say so, if you give them a hadith, they say, yes, Shaykh al-Albani authenticated it. Then you're following al-Albani. But we do not neglect the fact that we follow the Quran and the Sunnah with the understanding of the Salaf. So we do not blind follow Abu Hanifa, may Allah be pleased with him, or Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, May Allah be pleased with them all. No, we do not blind follow them. We look at their verdicts and we cross-reference it with the Quran and the Sunnah. If the Quran and Sunnah approves of it, yes. And I'll give you an example that the three Imams, Imam Abu Hanifa, Malik and Ash-Shafi'i, say that eating the meat of camel does not nullify your wudu. Only Imam Ahmad said that it does nullify wudu. Who should I follow? I follow the hadith in Sahih Imam Muslim, where the Prophet ﷺ was asked in the same incident about making wudu after eating mutton meat. He said, if you wish, up to you. And then he was asked, what about making wudu after eating camel's meat? He said, yes. So who should I follow? The three great Imams or the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ? Definitely the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. We have Mamdouh from Saudi Arabia.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamullah.
I have two questions.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please. My wife, my brother's wife, is disturbing my wife. So I asked my wife to stay away from her. Am I wrong or right? Because he is causing trouble with my wife, and I'm not in the house. So I asked my wife to stay away from her. And the second question, anytime I'm in, they are calling Azan, I try to follow it because the Prophet said anytime they are calling Azan, the person should follow it. So that one, should I follow it or should I stop eating and follow it, or should I eat and be following it? Or shouldn't I follow it?
Why are you hesitant in following the Adhan?
If I'm eating and they are calling Azan.
If you're eating?
Yes.
Okay,
So
I will answer you, inshallah.
Try to.
You're welcome. Alina from Pakistan. I'm sorry, I think we took so long before taking her call. Abdurrahim from Saudi Arabia, he wants to learn the Quran and his wife from a teacher. So is it permissible for a teacher to come and teach both of them at the same time? This is not recommended, and I believe that it is not permissible, because this would mean that your wife would recite the Quran and beautify her voice, and he would correct her and no, don't say this, don't say that, and it would be sort of mixing, though you are present, but this is not permissible. If you look, inshallah, you will find a woman that can come and teach her one-to-one. Second question, he said that after he converted to Islam, his parents and family did not approve of that, and they forced him to eat, and he was ignorant of the ruling of fasting Ramadan, so he did not fast. So what to do? Inshallah, you have no problem. Make up for these missed days, and there is no financial compensation, a day for a day, and that is it. Alina from Pakistan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I have three questions. Do you allow me to ask all three of them?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, the first is that is it compulsory to make dua after every first rakat, after first prayer?
Okay.
And what is the ruling about cupping being done on specific date, chosen dates? This is the second question.
Cupping?
Cupping, some people do it on specific chosen dates of the moon. Na?
Okay.
Okay. And the third question is that can dua be made during sajda in our own language that a person speaks?
Okay. Any more questions?
Okay. No, Jazakallah khair.
Okay, I will answer inshallah. Malado from Gambia.
Malado from Gambia. Yes. Assalamu alaikum, ya Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam. Mute your TV and listen to me from the phone, please.
Okay. My question is. Mute your TV and listen to me from the phone, please. Okay. Is it permissible for a woman to work, especially if she's married?
To work where, Malado?
To work where, Malado? Any kind of job.
Okay, I will answer inshallah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And we have Muhammad from Oman.
Yes, sir. See, I'm calling with regard to prayers, actually.
To what?
I was actually raised a Sunni. And then I came to Oman, and here there's mainly Ibadis in Oman. And I just wanted to know the difference between Ibadi and Sunni, because sometimes when I go and pray with the Ibadis, I just, pray like them. And I don't actually see, because I don't know religion that much, I don't see the difference in the two,
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah. Abdul Rahim's third question, he says that he works in construction and he lives in Riyadh and he travels every day to Al-Kharj, which is about 125 kilometers away from Riyadh. So does he shorten and combine his prayers? He goes in the morning, comes back in the evening. The majority say that you do not shorten because this is not traveling. And to my knowledge, the people of Riyadh do not consider Al-Kharj to be a traveling distance, as we in Jeddah don't consider Mecca to be a traveling distance. So you should not shorten your prayer unless these people in Riyadh tell you that yes, Kharj is a traveling distance. When we go there, we say goodbye to our parents and family, and whenever someone calls our homes, they say no, he traveled to Al-Kharj. But I don't think this happens, and Allah knows best. Nadeem from Saudi Arabia, he says that in India they have Ahl al-Hadith, and they say you should not follow the four schools of thought. Is this right? No, I said this is not right. To blind follow one of the four schools of thought is wrong. But to neglect the four schools of thought, and someone from Ahl al-Hadith or from Salafi followers would come and say, listen, I contemplated on the ayah that says so-and-so and the hadith that says so-and-so, and I came up with this wonderful new verdict. Akhi, anyone among the scholars said it before you? I said, no. Subhanallah, 1400 years have passed and no one came up with your conclusion. And now you said, yes, I follow the Quran and Sunnah. I said, no, this is unacceptable. You follow the Quran and Sunnah with the understanding of the righteous predecessors. Who are the righteous predecessors? The Prophet said, the best of generations is my generation. That includes him and the companions. And the following generation, that is of the tabi'een. And the following generation, that is of the tabi'een at-tabi'een. So these are the three favored generations as stated by the Prophet ﷺ, and we follow the Quran and the Sunnah through their understanding, not through ours, because they were closer to the Prophet ﷺ and they were more knowledgeable. So you have to have this balance. To say you have to follow only Abu Hanifa's madhab, this is wrong. This is blind following. Abu Hanifa was not a messenger of Allah, and he was a human being with shortcomings like everyone else. And those who follow him do not actually follow him. They follow the school. And so many verdicts that you find in his school differ with what his own verdicts were. But they say, no, this is the mainstream. Okay, let Abu Hanifa aside. No, if it's his school, you should follow his verdicts as well. We have Muhammad from Nigeria.
Assalamu alaikum, Ya Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Yeah, Sheikh, my question is about a couple who God didn't bestow them with children, and the woman is so desperate, and she's asking to go into this medical procedure that they will take the sperm of the husband and then take the sperm of the woman and develop it outside and return it into the womb. I want to know whether it's permissible in Islam.
Any more questions?
No, thank you, Ya Sheikh.
Yeah, ahlan wa sahlan. You're welcome, akhi. Nadeem's second question, he says that in India, we find that people are warning us. When we come to a masjid, they say this is Abrilvi's masjid, and this is a Dawbandi's masjid, and this is Ahl al-Hadith masjid, and so on. So he said that this is very confusing because Nadeem is living in Saudi Arabia. All masjids here, alhamdulillah, are masjids that follow Ahl al-Hadith, or follow Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, or follow the Salafi. It's the same thing. But in other countries, they may follow other sects. Now we know that there are 73 sects in Islam, all in hell except one, which means that 72 sects are deviant, are in hell, either because they're kafir, so they'll be there forever, or they are there for a short period of time and maybe Allah would forgive them because they are innovators. So in order for us to know which one is which, we have to look into their aqeedah. So without going into details, if a masjid is there and we know that there is a dargah in the masjid, there's a grave, you cannot pray there regardless of what you call that masjid. If the imam of the masjid says that the Prophet is alive, and he's hazir nazir, and he has control of over the universe, and you can call him, and he makes you ta'weez and amulets and asks you to wear them, and he believes in the awliya and so on, this is shirk. Definitely you cannot pray behind such an imam because your prayer is not accepted. And the reason is that his prayer is not accepted. So, you have to look into the aqeedah of the masjid itself. But if there is nothing that nullifies Islam, you can pray there regardless of the name of the masjid. We have Muhammad from Nigeria. Okay, we lost Muhammad. Abu Abdullah from Nigeria.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Salamullah wa barakatuh.
I have one question. That is, when I was young, I committed a small sin. In fact, I can't call it a sin. I committed a sin. That is, I transgressed to somebody's wife. Unfortunately, the person has died. So how do I do this one?
What kind of transgression? Abu Abdullah, what do you mean by transgressed against someone's wife? What did you do?
Wallahi, alhamdulillah, it has not reached to the grade, but at least we were friends when we were in school, so we try to.
Okay, I understand.
After her marriage.
I understand. Khalas, I will answer you inshallah.
But unfortunately, the person, the husband has died since.
طيب, I will answer you inshallah.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Oh, you're welcome. Mamdouh from Saudi Arabia, he says that his brother-in-law causes a lot of trouble when he communicates with his wife. So Mamdouh is married and his wife is a good woman, but when she speaks to her brother, she comes back with a different face. So he says, can I ask her to discommunicate, to not to speak to him? The answer is no. This is severing the kinship. You may ask her not to go to his house. You may prevent him from entering your house, but to speak to him on the phone and to check him out, and if she goes to her mother and she sees him, she meets him, this is her God-given right. And you have to try to discipline your wife. You have to put some logic and a sense into her mind so that she doesn't fall easily to his attempts to disturb her relationship with you. He says that if I'm eating and I hear the adhan, what should I do? Repeat after the muadhin. You won't find it difficult to spare 2 seconds to say Allahu Akbar, and you continue to eat. When he says Allahu Akbar again, you say Allahu Akbar, and you continue to eat. So you, inshallah, should do that to attain the reward. Alina from Pakistan, she says that is doing dua after mandatory and obligatory prayer, fard prayer, is it mandatory? The answer is no. It is not even sunnah. The Prophet had told us ﷺ when to make the dua. And he told us that if we are in the state of prostration, and this brings us to our third question. If you are in the state of prostration, then ask Allah as much as you want, because this is the position where Allah would answer your dua. So if you do not know how to do or make the dua in Arabic, you can make it in your own native language without any problem. And also the Prophet told us, ﷺ, that after concluding at-tahiyyat, the last and final salutation, before salam, the Prophet said, ask Allah whatever you wish. So these are the two locations where we are instructed by the Prophet ﷺ to make dua. After salam, there is no time or there is no dua to be made, but rather there is dhikr. So you remember Allah Azza wa Jalla and you say the adhkar, you read Ayat al-Kursi, you read the last 3 surahs of the Quran, etc. This is what one should do. Muhammad from Saudi Arabia. Yeah, Muhammad. Mute your television and listen to me from the phone, Ya Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Can you mute your TV and listen to me?
From Najran. Sir, I would like to ask about I would like to ask regarding the taraweeh. Is it 8 rakat or 20 rakat? Because recently I had been to India. There, most of the imams said that 20 rakat is compulsory. There is no 8 rakat taraweeh. But in Saudi Arabia, we are practicing 8 rakat in most of the masjids, except both the harams. So it is very confusing for most of the Indians who go back to India in Ramadan. They will confuse. So I need a detailed clarification regarding this.
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah. Alina's second question from Pakistan, she says that cupping, is it recommended in certain days? There are a number of hadiths where Shaykh al-Albani has made Hasan and authenticated it, but the majority of scholars say that they're not authentic. So those who follow Shaykh al-Albani in his authentications would follow it, and they would avoid the days that the Prophet was allegedly said that it's not permissible to do it there. And those who see the hadiths to be da'if and not authentic would follow the general trend of doing it whenever. Now, it is worth pointing that there are two types of cupping. Cupping that is made to follow the Sunnah. You have no illnesses. So if you stick with the hadiths that Shaykh al-Albani had authenticated and follow the sequence of the days and the days of the week and when to do it and when not to do it, then you are in the clear, inshallah. But if your cupping is due to an illness, someone who has migraine, someone who has an illness in his knee or in his bones, etc., then this is open and there is no date exempted from that, or you can do it anytime because this is a process of healing. Muhammad from Saudi. Muhammad from Saudi Arabia.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Yes, I have 2 questions.
Yes.
To believe in secularism.
Okay.
This is acceptable.
Okay, second question.
Another question is, there is a lady, she was pregnant twin baby. Then after delivery, no, this is a C-section delivery. They find one baby is dead, another is alive. Then the dead baby, the nurses said this is not good, and they said this is a very bad situation, you cannot take it, so we'll take care of that. Then the guy, he was not knowledgeable, he gave to them. Now he's feeling very sorry why he give the baby, dead baby, to the hospital. And the nurse said, we'll take care, we'll bury her, like that.
Okay. This was in a Muslim country or a Kafir country?
Yes, in a Muslim country.
Okay.
And this Muslim country. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Akhi. Alina's third question, we've answered that, alhamdulillah. Malado from Nigeria, I think, or from Gambia, I forgot. Is it permissible for a woman to work if she's married? And I asked her what kind of job. She said, any kind of job. If a woman has the permission from her husband to work, and this does not affect her household and her duties to her family, And most importantly, the job itself is halal, which means that it is segregated from men, like in the case of a teacher in an all-female school. Or she's working in an office that is segregated from men. She doesn't mix with them. She doesn't see them and they don't see her. If these conditions are met and the work itself is halal, then this is permissible, inshallah. Muhammad from Amman says, what's the difference between Ibadiyah and Ahlul Sunnah? Because he doesn't see much difference. Well, akhi, the difference is in their books. You have to look into their own books and their own aqidah. Al-Ibadiyah is a branch of Al-Khawarij, but they are the weakest type of Al-Khawarij. And Ibn Taymiyyah says very bad things about them. May Allah have mercy on his soul. I cannot say it here live on air. But he says that they are the worst kind of Khawarij, because Khawarij usually are courageous, brave, gallant and honest. They don't lie. But these guys are sort of not like this. And they give takfir by those who make kabira. But they are not consistent, because in their practices they do so many major sins. It's diluted in a sense. They say that you cannot see Allah Azza wa Jal even in the hereafter. So they falsify the verses of the Quran. They falsify the hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ stating that Allah would be seen by the believers on the Day of Judgment. The ayah in Surah Al-Mutaffifin, where Allah says, كَلَّا إِنَّهُمْ عَنْ رَبِّهِمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ لَمَحْجُوبُونَ. The ayah in Surah Al-Qiyamah, وُجُوهٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ نَاظِرَةٌ إِلَى رَبِّهَا نَاظِرَةٌ. On that day they will see Allah Azza wa Jal. The many hadiths in the Sahih where the Prophet tells us that Allah Azza wa Jal takes away the veil and the people would look at Allah Azza wa Jal, the people of Jannah, and no blessing or favor of Allah they would have gotten more than the joy and the happiness of looking at Allah's beautiful face. So this cult or this sect is an Ibadiyah, and scholars differed whether you can pray behind them or not. I personally would not pray behind them, just to be safe. And some say that yes, you can pray behind them, especially if they are laymen. But the scholars and those who know their religion well and preach their deviancy, you should not pray behind them. Muhammad from Nigeria says that a woman is desperate for a child and Allah Azza wa Jal did not bless them with one, so she would like to opt for IVF. And the majority of scholars, the contemporary scholars, say that this is permissible, providing that the sperm is from the husband and the embryo is from the wife, and the pregnancy takes place in the wife's womb. So there's no third party involved. And it is needed, and it's a must, and it's highly recommended that this is done in an institution where sperms cannot be mixed, because this is very vital and important. And highly preferable and recommended that the treatment of the IVF would be done by a female doctor, so that we would not expose the woman to non-mahram men without necessity. But if this is not possible because there aren't any women who are qualified to do such work, then inshallah it's permissible. But the previous conditions are essential. The sperm is from the husband, the embryo is from the wife, and the wife is the one who's carrying a child in her womb, and may Allah Azza wa Jal grant them the children that would satisfy them in this life. Abu Abdullah from Nigeria, he said that he had a relationship, but it did not reach the limit of fornication, with a woman who was married, and the husband died, and he feels bad about it. How can he repent? This has nothing to do with the husband or with the woman. You have to repent to Allah Azza wa Jal. You have to sincerely show and express your remorse to Allah Azza wa Jal. You have to ask Allah for forgiveness, and you have to do a lot and a lot of good deeds, because Allah told us that the good deeds erase the bad deeds. So if you repent and feel remorse and you do good deeds, Allah would forgive you, inshallah. Muhammad from Saudi Arabia says that, is taraweeh 8 rak'ahs or 20 rak'ah? I think, akhi, you're a month late because Ramadan is over. However, we said so many times that the Prophet did not set a limit, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to night prayer. So it can be 8, it can be 20, it can be 40, it can be 100. The number is not of any importance. And he says that we confuse because they only pray 20 in India. Well, they do this in Mecca and Medina. So what would you do when you go to Mecca and Medina to pray Taraweeh? Would you only pray 8 and then skip it? No, this is not logical. You pray as long as your Imam is praying and follow him until he finishes witr, and by this you inshallah have prayed your Taraweeh correctly. Muhammad from Saudi Arabia says, what does Islam say about the belief in secularism? Secularism is synonymous to kufr, because real secularism is to separate state from religion. So anyone who says that Islam is only in the masjid and it has nothing to do with art, with politics, with economy, with social lives, this is kufr. Such separation between religion and our lives is kufr and disbelief. She says, or he says, that there was a woman who gave birth to a twin. One of them died. So they took that dead body of the child and they said that they will bury it. And now he feels remorse for this and he's regretful. There's nothing you can do, akhi. Ask Allah for forgiveness. And if it's an Islamic country, alhamdulillah, we hope that they would treat the body, the dead body, in a humane and Islamic and appropriate way, and there is nothing on you to do, inshallah. Layla says, how to do istighfar? Istighfar has many forms. The easiest is to say astaghfirullah, or to ask Allah to say Allahumma ghafirli. And of course, the master of istighfar, which you all know, Allahumma anta rabbi la ilaha illa ant, etc. This is one of the best, if not the best. Saad says, can you explain to me if cheese made from animal rennet is allowed to be consumed? The scholars have 3 different opinions. Well, actually, let me rephrase it. If the rennet are from legal and lawful slaughtered animals, it is permissible without any doubt. If it is from pork, it is prohibited without any doubt. You cannot use that at all. It's najis, it's haram. If it is from halal animals but were not slaughtered, so they're dead animals, but they're sheep, camels, cows, etc. The scholars differ. The majority say that this is not permissible. Some scholars say that it's permissible. This is the school of Abu Hanifa, may Allah have mercy on his soul. And this was the opinion of Umar, Salman al-Farisi, Talha, and so many companions. And this is the most authentic opinion. And this is the choice of Ibn Taymiyyah, if I'm not mistaken. And he mentioned this in Al-Masail al-Mardiniyah. And he said that the companions used to go to Persia and to the Byzantines and to the Romans and consume their cheese without asking or checking or hesitating, which means that this is permissible in with the grace of Allah, and Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best. This is all the time we have until we meet next week, same time. I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance and in your deen